2 days ago, received a call from the wife who had indicated they had read the entire book and they were super excited and wanted to know if I would consider them to be my clients.
I'll go ahead and get started so we don't, I'm not taking up too much of your time. Just kind of want to ask you a little bit about the success you're having and, how everything's working for you.
Right. Well, I am, and I'm probably going to not be the only person to say I'm kind of new at this, but I'm not really that new at it. I'm a former college instructor. And so being in print was just like the thing, when I was teaching at the colleges. And so it was exciting to have this Authorify opportunity. I want to say up front that it was really the thing. It was the thing that to me made the most sense. It's the way of presenting to me that makes the most sense. And I was just super excited when I became a Authorify member. So I'm just really kind of getting my feet wet in it. I've created both a buyer book and a seller business card book with a custom cover, and it was well received. I mean, I left a copy of it at my chiropractor's. I got a call from that recently. Someone saw it on the desk and picked it up and decided to give me a call. I picked up I picked up one seller who is selling an inherited property. They're also planning on selling their condo and buying another property. So that one book yielded, and that was an expired property that had been expired. I dropped off a copy of my book late one Sunday evening, and they called me Tuesday saying, "Hey, we found this book." And from that, potential for 2 listings and a sale. So that also has been kind of exciting.
So being in academics, having that book, so you really understand that whole, having a published materials behind with your name on it and your picture, you really do understand what that does for you, for your expertise, value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that, in academia, being published is the thing. Did you have a published, manuscript that you've created or some research that you've done? Getting published is the thing, and it's all about being published. And so for me, it was just a direct relationship with my background and experiences. It was the way to best articulate for me the style that I use in order to help my buyers and sellers get where they have to go.
Right. When did you get started in real estate? When did that kind of kick off?
Well, interestingly enough, I was first licensed in 1988. Back when everything was done on paper, and there was MLS was like, oh, that's what we use computers for. We were still faxing things back then, and this stuff was really manual. And so that was my first experience, and I became a designated broker. And I did that for about 10 years and then became a federal contractor. So I kind of left real estate for a period of time, but it's always been my passion. So at the beginning of the pandemic, when all the colleges and everything shut down, I needed to do something. And so to me, I figured this was a good time for me to renew my passion for real estate.
Awesome. Well, congratulations getting back into it after all these years.
Thank you.
So what, going with talking about the book you left at the chiropractor's office, for some people that we talk to people all the time about how that's a great idea, go put these in waiting rooms. But a lot of people are hesitant to do that or think, oh, well, they're just going to take it from me and throw it away. What was your approach to getting it in that office?
Prior to receiving my first copies, I started talking it up. Hey, guess what I've been working on during the pandemic? And, just simple conversation. The massage therapist was the very first person in the office who said, yeah, when it comes, I want a copy. Matter of fact, I'll pay for it. And so when the copies came in, the first one that came in was my buyer's book. And I provided a copy of that because I was waiting for the custom cover for the seller's biz card book. And so I provided a copy of the buyer's book and left that in their lobby. which I don't think it's still in their lobby. I think one of the staff members may have taken it home. But then my custom cover came in, and I provided a copy of that to the massage therapist, and he was bragging in the office about how he was the first person to get a custom signed copy. And so now the chiropractor is the main chiropractor is a new client for me, and so we'll be working together here soon.
Yeah, that's great. I think, I was talking to somebody else a while back, and they kind of had the same thing come up where they said that they put the book in, I think it was their dentist's office, and the dentist ended up being the client that, he saw it sitting on his, he was walking through his lobby one day. He's like, oh, what is this? Because the receptionist had put it out, and then he ended up, I think the agent, she helped him buy a home and sell his home. So it was a two for one deal, Well, that's great. And then, so you also have had success with an expired. How did that happen?
Well, I had noticed this condo, and it was really in a distressed kind of area. And I just kind of said, I'm going to keep an eye on that. And so I checked on it probably 6 months after I'd seen it the first time and noticed that it had gone expired, or a canceled listing. And so I put together a quick packet. Again, I just received my seller biz card book and a nice little cover letter. Didn't have a lot of promotional stuff to add to it. I just took that and I put it in a gift bag and left it on the door. And that was, I think, on a Sunday evening. And on Tuesday, received a call from that seller indicating that, yes, she was definitely still interested. She just had bad vibes with the other broker, and that she had an inherited property that they were dealing with and wanted to sell first. And so right now I have a full price offer on that one. And then once we've completed that transaction, we're going to look at listing her condo. And then subsequently, of course, selling her a new place to live.
Right. So that's great. I mean, 3 transactions with one book and one package dropping off. I mean,
absolutely.
That's pretty good return on investment.
Good return on investment. I also was at a showing, and there was an unaccompanied buyer at this showing. And so on the way out, I just introduced myself, but instead of just giving them my business card with the hopes that maybe they might call me, I went to the car, and I keep my books in gift bags in the car. And so I went to the car, grabbed a book bag, and provided them with a copy of the book, and thought nothing more of it. And so it's been about a week, and 2 days ago, received a call from the wife who had indicated they had read the entire book, and they were super excited and wanted to know if I would consider them to be my clients, because they knew that because I was a high demand professional based on my book, that there was a possibility that I might decline them. And of course I accepted them.
So, I mean, what's that been like to have these people calling you and say, will you come list my house, rather than the other way around saying, I would like to have your business?
It definitely has made the conversation a lot easier. They already have somewhat of an idea of my style, and because I've really spent a lot of time tweaking my book to make it really more mine than off the shelf. And so they have a really good idea, I think, of my style, and that speaks a lot of volumes. And then to meet me and for me to articulate that same style is a confidence builder for the seller. And again, that's right now I'm looking at 2 listings off of that one. So I think that's a pretty good deal. I do have a campaign out, just recently mailed out to some expireds in the 700 to 900,000 price range, and to just about all of the for sale by owners in my area. So I'm looking for some positive feedback from that.
Right. Excellent. You mentioned you really taking the time to edit your book and making it your own. What was your, how was the book builder app for you? How did everything go through that editing process?
I found it enjoyable. I worked with a lot of different platforms and from the educational field. And so it was easy to work with. Um, my problem sometimes was losing track with what I was working on and then getting back into it when I walk away and come back to it. But outside of that, I found the book builder process very simple. It's intuitive once you understand that the guides on the side give you some alternatives. Because at first I was like, I didn't understand how these things were working. And then I started figuring out that these are plug and play. I don't have to use this section. I can add another section in its place, which might word the same information differently or have a different approach. And it allowed me to really craft the book. And I think that was enjoyable. Like I said, I spent a lot of time personalizing it, but that was not a difficult process. It does take time. You really have to read the book. And, but of course, for me, that was the natural thing to do.
Right. Well, and by doing that, you're able to have an even better conversation with somebody because you know exactly if when you have edited things and added your own little twist to certain chapters of the books, that you are so that you know every page of that book now to where when somebody has a question, you can say, oh, we'll go to chapter 3. I actually address that.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's a great. I always like hearing, when our members have taken the time to really edit their books and making them their own.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
Because this is intended to be a standalone. I should not have to concern myself with someone else walked in with the exact same cover, So it starts there. You've got to craft the cover to really, and even the canned wording. Sometimes you can take that and enhance it. Like I took mine and made it for Washington, and so it says, in Washington State to do these things. And so that's personalized versus taking that same document without that twist. You might be construed as just being a copy of somebody else's stuff. Right.
Well, and with your background in knowing, the publication process from your time in academics, how much of a draw was it that everything was already there and ready? The whole publishing process can be a very lengthy one to get even off the ground, and having this kind of already there is really definitely helps jumpstart things.
Having the template was a godsend. I think that for those who are less inclined, it's a walk in the park. I mean, you just follow the steps, make sure you look for where you need to make the customizations. And but even if you didn't, you could go with it as is and still have success with it. I would just, again, encourage anyone else that's looking at it to take the time, because you don't rush the publishing, right. And so take the time to put in the energy, consider what you've already said. You don't want to be redundant in statements, but take the time. And it starts out with reading the book first, though. You can't make the edits until you've read it.
Right. As you are doing this campaign that you have with the FSBOs and the expireds, what are you? So you said you put together a package that you give to people, on the door hangers, and I think that's great that you have those in your car all the time. So if an opportunity comes up, that you're ready. Correct. What else do you put inside that package?
I have a referral letters packet. So I think it's like maybe 3 pages of referrals stapled together. And then for my FSBOs and expireds, it's a personalized cover letter that actually I've taken the time to take a look at what they're offering, make references to it in my letter. And so it's very custom. So it's not a generic, it must have came out of some type of production assembly. It's me, I'm the production assembly. Make sure my business card's in there. And I have like a promotional mailer that I put on my forward section. So that way it goes right when the first page you're really opening up, it talks about who I am and why did I do this? So it's kind of a place card, and I've taken the time to put tags in them, especially the ones that I'm giving directly to for sale by owners or expireds that highlight, hey, look here, look there. Oh, I wonder why he put a tag here. Let me go to that chapter and take a look. So I love the idea of the public library. I thought that was really cool when I saw that video. And so I've taken the time to follow those instructions. Go through, find the highlights, make the little references, doctor it up like it's recommended in the instruction. And I have several of those in my box that when I encounter one of those, especially if I'm out touring or working in the community, then I can drop one of those off, hopefully to plant that seed as well.
Right. And the thing about the little library, it's having your face there as somebody, as a family walks by. And I mean, even if they don't pick it up, they're still seeing you, and it's getting your name and your, that name, face recognition out there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Well, I really enjoy working on this platform. I think that it's, of course, I don't want everybody doing it, but I enjoy the fact that I do it. And It really speaks to my personality. And it I think is a great opportunity. Every week I'm constantly taking in new information, looking at different ways to approach it, to use this as probably my strongest tool to negotiate selling and buying opportunities.